Let's continue with our rolling coverage of Victoria's state election. Joining me live now is former Labor power broker, now candidate for the Democratic Labor Party, Adem Somyurek. Adem, thanks for joining us. Why should the public trust you to be the person to hold Daniel Andrews to account on a number of big issues when you were the one sacked over alleged branch stacking?
Daniel Andrews and I go back a very long way, Tanika. We go back 25 years. If you mentioned branch stacking, so let's talk about branch stacking. Daniel Andrews was the king of branch stacking in his day, and Daniel Andrews and I went into Parliament together 20 years ago. I know Daniel intimately well. I've known him from the party organisation. We went into Parliament together. I was instrumental in his leadership, coming to the leadership in 2010. I served as his shadow minister. I was a minister in his government, and I was a power broker managing his party. I know him very well. I know everything. I know how Daniel Andrews thinks, and I know the tricks of the trade. I've been there for 20 years, and I know the tricks of Daniel Andrews.
Okay, but
so
why should the public trust you?
And you need to be strong. Well, they should trust me because I'm an experienced politician, and I know my way around the system, and I'm strong enough to stand up to Daniel Andrews.
So if you're successful, will you work at all constructively with Daniel Andrews? Should he be returned as Premier tonight?
I will work what's in the... my decisions will be made based on what's in the interest of Victorians, not on Daniel Andrews and not on the Australian Labor Party.
But you've been running quite an AntiDan Andrews platform. Do you think that running that is really what the state needs and wants?
I think Dan Andrews needs to be held to account. He dominates his party room. He dominates his cabinet. There is no collective decision-making process in his government. He rules by decree. There is no transparency in his decision-making. There is no collective decision-making. There is no scrutiny of what he does in his cabinet, his party room. And for a while there, he was running an elective dictatorship. Why? Because he had done a cosy deal with 3 left-wing crossbenchers in the upper house. So he didn't even have to worry about Parliament. He just rammed things through Parliament, like the pandemic bill. So he tried at the end and failed with the pandemic bill. So Daniel Andrews does need to be held to account, and that's exactly what I'm doing. I've got the experience and the strength to be able to do that.
Are you focusing, though, more on Dan Andrews and a divisive campaign as opposed to your own as a candidate in this election?
This election is about Daniel Andrews. Let's be very clear about that. He dominates the political landscape. He dominates the political landscape in part because his MPs can't actually stand up to him. This is the problem. Why? Because his party is controlled by the National Executive, i.e. the party is controlled by him.
But I'm going to ask you this again. Should he be successful tonight in you, are you going to be able to work constructively with him?
Look, I'll be working in the interests of Victorians.
Okay, but you might not. But you're saying you won't be able to work constructively with him.
Well, no. If he's working in the interests of Victoria, I'll be working constructively with him. Absolutely. We're not up. I won't be up for this inner city elitist left nonsense, and that's for sure. He represents the Australian Labor Party. He needs to start caring about working class families in the suburbs. That's what he needs to do, and I'll be constantly reminding him of that. If he goes off on this post-materialist nonsense, trying to define what family is when he should be delivering, looking after the cost of living crisis, fixing our health system, our education system, and worrying about jobs and infrastructure, that's what he needs to be doing.
All right. How are you feeling about your own chances today? How do you feel about your own chances?
Well, ironically, my chances depend on how much the Labor Party goes backwards in the northern suburbs of Victoria. Swing of over 7% or over should almost get me home. So there's a correlation between the swing that Andrews receives against him and my chances.
Do you think the public are going to welcome you back with open arms should you be successful, given your political history?
Well, I'm the most scrutinised politician in Australia's history, right? I've had 2 investigative bodies scrutinise me for 2.5 years, $15 million. And what have they got? What have they got? I had 7 years of my text messages, 7 years of my WhatsApp messages, 20 years of my emails, that all my bank account details, anything. If there was anything there at all, they wasted 2.5 years. They had to find it. They found nothing. So no one else has gone through that much scrutiny. So I've got to say, if you go through the scrutiny, you're entitled to claim the title of the only clean MP in Australian history.
Okay, so you're confident that the public would be happy to welcome you back?
Well, I think the public has seen that I've done a good job in trying to hold Daniel Andrews to account.
Adem Somyurek, we have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.